Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Hour of the Time. Today, Tuesday, the 26th of July, 2005, with Part 10 in our special series on ecumenicals, New Age religions, the esoteric ties, and the typical socialist tactics they're using to unite and subvert fundamentalist Christianity under a one-world church, one-world religion umbrella to finish their plan to establish a one-world socialist dictatorship. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to contact the Hour of the Time, we have various ways. You can write us at Hour of the Time, P.O. Box 940, Eager, spelled E-A-G-A-R, Arizona 85925. Again, that's Hour of the Time, P.O. Box 940, Eager, Arizona 85925. Our website, a wonderful website full of research material, research links, news updates, special projects, etc., is houroftheTime.com. That's houroftheTime.com. Now, my email address to reach me directly is houroftheTime@hotmail.com. That's houroftheTime@hotmail.com. And the studio number for questions, comments, share research is 928-333-2942. That's 928-333-2942. Now, a couple quick reminders, ladies and gentlemen. Thursday the 28th, we are going to do open call-in day to discuss these topics we've been covering: symbolism amongst the churches, esoteric writings, New Age religions, Word of Faith movement, dispensationalism, etc. So that's Thursday the 28th, and you'll just simply call the studio number, 928-333-2942. Then on Friday, we have a very special guest on that day as well. This is a unique opportunity for the Hour of the Time again. We have a guest who is an expert in his field of Internet and computer security, and there will be a live report from Black Hat and DEF CON 13. We will preface the beginning half of the show with preparatory material. Then we're going to have computer security expert Thomas Brennan of Data Safe Services reporting live from Black Hat and DEF CON 13, right from the convention floor. Now, this is an annual gathering of the international hacker community. It's a spy versus spy type format. The event provides an open forum for topics such as computer exploits, network security, ways to steal and protect identity, breaking into networks that today use wireless, hacking with Google, and various Microsoft and Unix-related topics. Also on the agenda is physical security, and topics include safe cracking, lock picking, and social engineering. We are the only ones, ladies and gentlemen, who will be doing this, so I'm very proud of that. And these are the experts. There's people out there who claim to be, but this guy is in his firm and his assistants in this firm. So that's Friday, live from this meeting. And this is really a spook convention, if you will, also. It's at least 50% government, as told to me by insiders who attend these. And this is where you find out the newest worms, exploits, what countries' codes have been cracked, how to crack them, weak places, strong places, etc., and how you can most make yourself safe concerning Internet, computer, and now physical security using computers. So, some good announcements there. And again, ladies and gentlemen, now the time is listener supported. We need your support through donations directly or for research materials. You can see that in our hard copy catalog. Just put a request in writing, the donation to cover costs, and via our website, houroftheTime.com. On our front page, you can simply go to the HOTT shop. HOTT stands for Hour of the Time, and we have PayPal there if you like to use that. And the entire audio, video, and publication catalog is on our website. Now, after this quick musical break, again today, the 26th of July, 2005, we're going to go into Part 10 of the special series, really the culmination of Mystery Babylon 2 with our special guest Rob and his special offering just to the Hour of the Time audience. And he's going to continue on with some special writings and research that he has done for the Hour of the Time and Christians around the world. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, again, you're listening to the Hour of the Time today on WBCQ, the planet, 7.415 megahertz and 9.330 megahertz out of Monticello, Maine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Rob, who helped Bill with much of his research in these esoteric, New Age religious fields, is with us again with this new series to culminate Mystery Babylon 2, which Bill and I have already been working on. Rob has given the Hour of the Time a special opportunity. That is, you can directly correspond with Rob concerning topics that we're covering and talk to him. It doesn't have to be just today. His email is rltwoco@aol.com. That's rltwoco@aol.com. And this is Rob and not Rob, co-host and webmaster, so don't get those confused, please, because then we'll just have to waste everybody's time forwarding email questions around. Now we're going to bring him online here. Hey Rob, how you doing today?
Okay, Doyel.
Alrighty, hey Rob, that was a 90-minute piece you did yesterday with your work on the Four Horsemen Explained and its ties to the Esoteric and the Vatican Church. Is that where we're going again today?
Yeah, we're going to continue with the second seal, which is the Red Horse, and we're going to try to get into more detail, more documentation. People should listen closely and write down any information that any books and articles that we're going to be quoting from to check it out for themselves.
As always, have something to write with and check out the sources, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving you the info. Check it out if you don't believe us.
Okay, so let's continue with our quote from Leonard Ravenhill in his book Why Revival Tarries. And he goes on to say that, quote, evangelists today are wide-eyed to the might of communism, but tight-lipped at the menace of Romanism. America would shake from coast to coast in 24 hours if some preacher anointed with the Holy Ghost gave the Roman Catholic Church a broadside. In England, we are worse. We stir national interest against the cruel, half-civilized Mau, wicked enough, but powwow with and pander to the Roman Catholic Church. These priests who dope men's souls, these idolatrous masses, these Calvary-eclipsing prayers to Mary, these miserable millions cheated in life and in death by the greatest forgery Lucifer ever made, all these do not seem to stir us to tearful intercessions and godly jealousy as identical circumstances stirred Elijah. The enemy has come in like a flood. Is there no spirit-filled messenger today armed with all the panoply of God to lift up a standard against him, unquote? And that was from Why Revival Tarries by Leonard Ravenhill, pages 39 to 40. Now let's go on to the third seal. The third seal in Revelation 6 is the black horse. Quote, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, unquote, from Revelation 6, verses 5 to 6. The rider of this horse, the black horse, has a pair of balances. One scale shows his power over the economy of the world to control food production. The other scale shows how he administers laws both national and international to protect the production of oil and the liquor industries of the earth. The rider controls the world economy and also holds the balance of law in his hand to control, manipulate, and legally destroy all opposition. The color of the Jesuit order is black. The Jesuit general, who is also known as the Black Pope, wears black, and he is the man who is believed to actually run the Vatican behind the scenes. The Jesuits will take care of all conspiracies for the Pope. They control government and world economy. The Jesuits are the army of the Pope. The Ku Klux Klan is believed to have been created by Roman Catholic Confederate Army soldiers during the Civil War, American Civil War, and the Jesuits, along with the help of Freemasonry and the Knights of the Golden Circle during the Civil War. The Jesuits, along with the help of Freemasonry and Knights of the Golden Circle, started the Civil War and murdered Abraham Lincoln. And some good books you can read are The Big Betrayal by Jack Chick, 50 Years in the Church of Rome by Charles Chiniquy, and the suppressed truth about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln by Burke McCarthy. Ignatius de Loyola founded the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, and was the first Jesuit general or black pope. He also founded the Alumbrados, which means the enlightened or the Illuminati. The reason he created the Alumbrados was to control the minds of European leaders through hypnosis, witchcraft, and mind control. Adam Weishaupt was a Jesuit who created the Illuminati, again on May 1st, 1776. The Jesuits and Illuminati are mystical orders. Loyola developed his spiritual exercises to bring one to spiritual perfection. And you can really read anywhere you're looking at on the internet, you just type up Loyola or spiritual exercise, and you could, I'm sure you can read the whole spiritual exercises online now. Through systematic meditation, prayer, contemplation, visualization, and illumination, Loyola would go into a trance and ecstasy. He was seen to levitate off the floor. He built his concepts from ancient Greek, from the occult, and from sciences. He utilized philosophy, metaphysics, logic, psychoanalysis, psychology, hypnosis, telepathy, parapsychology, which is really scientific witchcraft, psychiatry, and psychotherapy. These are now called the behavioral sciences. The Montanists, around 200 AD, the first charismatic monks spoke in tongues, made prophecies, and experienced ecstasies. They prepared the way for the mystics, Loyola and his Illuminati, or Alumbrados, and the Jesuits to penetrate, infiltrate, and destroy the true Bible-believing church. Transcendental meditation was used by the Montanists as their main discipline by concentration and repeating the names of saints, and the version Cybele. Again, this is mantras, the use of mantras, repeating words. The goddess Cybele, who was the goddess mother of fertility, Semiramis, which became the Virgin Mary, or by reciting prayers of praise. All this knowledge of the occult equipped Loyola and his Jesuit priests to gain control of other nations. The Jesuits went deep into the occult. Their study of witchcraft and his branches took them closer to Satan. They used transcendental meditations in all forms of Buddhism. Again, this is from a book wrote by Jack Chick called The Force, pages 24 to 25, where he's exposing the Jesuits again from the man Alberto Rivera, who's supposedly a Jesuit priest, exposing the occult connection that the Jesuits and Loyola used and the techniques they used to destroy Christianity. We can see that some cults, as forms of Roman Catholicism in the Roman Catholic institution, had the same basic underlying pattern in their doctrine, religious practices, and structure. For example, Mormonism has a doctrine of individual salvation, which determines which one of the three heavens one goes to, and whether or not one earns true eternal life. This individual salvation is to be based on good works, just as Roman Catholicism teaches. Mormonism also has general salvation, which Mormons call salvation by grace. This general salvation is restricted to resurrection from the dead and immortality. It does not decide a person's specific residence or degree of glory in the next life. General salvation is to be based in grace. Therefore, Mormons may claim that they believe salvation is by grace. However, by this they mean only that every person will be resurrected from the dead. The actual destiny of that person is determined by personal righteousness. According to Mormonism, a person's good works and personal merit determine which kingdom of glory he or she inherits after death. The Mormon Church has consistently opposed the biblical teaching of justification by grace through faith alone. Because salvation by grace is thoroughly rejected, Mormonism forcefully teaches a system of salvation by works of righteousness and personal merit. And you can read a lot about this in The Facts on the Mormon Church by John Ankerberg and John Weldon, pages 21 and 22. This is also a doctrine in Roman Catholicism. In the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraphs 1815, 1821, 2010, and 2027 state that salvation is merited by doing good works. Paragraphs 1129 and 1131 state that salvation is by faith plus the law, sacraments, and good works. Paragraphs 2090 through 2092 state that you sin if you presume to be saved without merit. In other words, you sin if you presume to be saved without good works. Another doctrine in Mormonism that is similar to Roman Catholicism is that the spirits of the dead can be assisted and even saved in the next life by work done on their behalf under the auspices in the Mormon Church. That's on the Facts on the Mormon Church by John Ankerberg and Weldon, page 39. The Muslims is believed by some to have been financed by the Vatican to conquer Jerusalem and the Holy Land for the Vatican, and later Islam developed. And this is from the comic The Prophet by Jack Chick, and he said, Alvaro Rivera said that Islam was really created by the Vatican. They used the Muslims because the Vatican always had dreams to really move the Vatican to the New Jerusalem and to take over the Holy Land, and they used the Muslims to really destroy Jews and anyone who opposed the Vatican. And later, they still use Muslims to conquer territories, especially Croatia and Serbia, a lot of where is Orthodox. They want to destroy the Orthodox Church, and they want to destroy Israel. The Vatican has plans to move to Jerusalem. One of the goals of Loyola and his Jesuits were to destroy Protestantism and end the Reformation through their Counter-Reformation is what they call it, the Counter-Reformation. The Jesuits commissioned two of their best Jesuits to destroy Protestantism through eschatology, which is a study of all the prophecy of the coming of Jesus Christ, the second coming. These two Jesuits were under the extreme oath and induction. They were Ribera and Alcazar. Ribera and Alcazar set up a think tank. Their aim was to stop the attack in Rome and to get the Protestants fighting among themselves by pushing theories on prophecy such as various views on the rapture and the millennium. It was Ribera and Alcazar who may have coined the word the rapture, and this is again from the Kiss the Protestants Goodbye by Jack Chick, exposing the Jesuits and their goal to destroy the Protestant churches through the Counter-Reformation. The Roman Catholic institution and the Jesuits have many fronts on which they secretly attack and get rid of the Protestants of the 20th century. Some of these fronts are to destroy the Protestant Bible, the King James Version, infiltrate the seminaries, the Bible colleges, weaken their pastors, take over their Christian publishers, and to entice the gospel bookstores to sell Catholic material. Again, that's from the Kiss the Protestants Goodbye by Jack Chick. The first target was to destroy the King James Bible, which was the final authority. The Jesuits had two men who successfully destroyed the Protestant Bible. They were Hort and Westcott, and were well trained by the followers of the Jesuits, Ribera and Alcazar. The cry went up to abate the King James Version, which is the Textus Receptus, the traditional Greek, in 1875, so a committee was formed to create a new and better translation of the Bible. It was called the Revised Version. It was based on the corrupt Alexandrian manuscripts, which were known as the Vaticanus. The Sinaiticus and the Apocrypha are also corrupt manuscripts. Hort and Westcott were on this committee. The Dreibergen Committee was held in 1964, and it was attended by representatives of the United Bible Societies in the Roman Catholic Church. It proposed the preparation of a common text of the Bible in a common translation which would be acceptable to all. The New Latin Vulgate was issued by the Vatican and published by the German Bible Society, a member of the United Bible Societies, which corrected Latin text, which conforms to the same UBS, United Bible Society's third edition of the Greek New Testament. The German Bible Society published a 26th edition of the Nassau-Allen Greek New Testament, with the Greek text absolutely identical to the United Bible Society's third edition. The Nassau-Allen Greek text is from the Alexandrian text. The New Testament of the New International Version is based on the United Bible Society's Nassau-Allen Greek New Testament. The majority of modern translations, including the New Revised Standard Version, the New American Standard Bible, the Revised English Bible, and the Good News Bible, are also based on the United Bible Society's Nassau-Allen Greek New Testament. Other versions are the American Standard Version, the Book, the Living Bible, the New King James Version, the Jerusalem Bible, the Common Bible, etc. It is amazing that the symbol of the Triskele, which is also known as the Triskelion or the Triquetra, is on the New King James Version. Let me explain what the symbol means. In the book Masonic and Occult Symbols Illustrated by the author Dr. Kathy Burns, she says, quote, the Triskelion, which is a Greek word for 3 legs, is a symbol of the sun intended to express motion, unquote. The 3-legged Triskeles symbolize rising, zenith, and setting, meaning the sun, the rising of the sun, the zenith of the sun, and the setting of the sun, from the east to the west. The legs are also to represent birth, death, and rebirth, unquote. Dr. Burns says this is a reference to reincarnation. Dr. Burns goes on to say that the Triskele is a, quote, a Celtic version of the yin-yang symbol of life, unquote, and a modification of a swastika. Dr. Burns also said that Marilyn Ferguson used the symbol of the Triquetra, which is another name for the Triskele, on her New Age book, The Aquarian Conspiracy. Dr. Burns said this is a variation for the number 666. The World Future Society and the Trilateral Commission used versions of the Triquetra or Triskele in their logos. Again, isn't it amazing that the symbol is on the New King James Version? Why is this so? Maybe Thomas Nelson Publishers, who was involved with the New King James Version, use the symbol because they say it represents a Trinity. If they do know the truth about the symbol, they probably say they're using the symbol for a holy use. But how can you use an evil symbol and say you are making it holy? That's like saying let's use the pentagram as a holy symbol and let's have Jesus crucified on it. Again, you can read this in Masonic Symbols Illustrated, Dr. Kathy Burns, pages 241 to 245. And also look at the Flashpoint article, March 1997 newsletter by Tex Mars. And you can look at various websites on shamanism, and it'll talk to you about the symbol of the Triquetra, right, in shamanism. It's a symbol of shamanism. Now let me talk about the New Catholic Bible, called the New Jerusalem Bible, and the symbol that appears on it. In Masonic and Occult Symbols Illustrated, the author, Dr. Burns, says that the G in the Masonic square and compass means generativity, which means it is a sexual connotation, unquote. It is the generative principle, according to Our Plake. Dr. Burns quotes a book that says, quote, a Masonic symbol seen less frequently is the 33rd degree cross because it appertains to the highest degrees. It is more commonly called the Crusaders' Cross or the Jerusalem Cross. This cross was used by the first Grand Master of the Knights Templars, Godfrey de Bouillon, after he liberated Jerusalem from the Muslims during the Crusades. Again, you can read this in Masonic and Occult Symbols Illustrated by Dr. Burns, page 312. Some believe that the Vatican secretly negotiated and financed Muhammad through a Roman Catholic relative to help annihilate the Jewish people, but when Islamic forces captured Jerusalem in the name of the Prophet Muhammad, the Pope was blocked from moving the Vatican there. The Vatican financed Muhammad to conquer Jerusalem for the Pope. And you can read The Godfathers by Jack Chick, page 4, which explains this more. The Vatican has always wanted to move to the Jerusalem, as we've been saying before. The Vatican might be held responsible for creating Islam. Now the Vatican had to defeat a new enemy which she had created. The Vatican would have the Crusades. These men are said to have been Christians. They were to fight for God and the Pope, to free Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Islamic control. The Crusades involved the Knights Templars and later the Knights of Malta, which back then was known as the Sovereign Military Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, of Rhodes, and of Malta. Let me explain both groups in detail. According to Funson Waggle's New Encyclopedia, volume 15, page 280, it says, quote, Knights Templars, members of a medieval religious and military order, officially named the Order of the Poor Knights of Christ. They were popularly known as the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, or Knights Templar, because their first quarters in Jerusalem adjoined a building known at the time as Solomon's Temple. The order developed from a small military band formed in Jerusalem in 1119 by two French knights, Hughes de Payens and Godfrey of St. Omer, Its aim was to protect pilgrims visiting Palestine after the First Crusade. Military and purpose from its beginning, the order thus differed from the other two great 12th century religious societies, the Knights of St. John's of Jerusalem and the Teutonic Knights, which began as charitable institutions. The Knights Templars obtained papal sanction for their order, and in 1128, at the Ecclesiastical Council of Troyes, they were given an austere rule closely patterned on that of the monastic order of Cistercians. The Knights Templars were headed by a Grand Master, under whom were three ranks: knights, chaplains, and sergeants. The knights were the dominant members, and they alone were allowed to wear the distinctive dress of the order, which was a white mantle with a large red Latin cross on the back. The headquarters of the Knights Templars remained at Jerusalem until the fall of the city to the Muslims in 1187. It was later located successfully at Antioch, at Acre, at Caesarea, and in Cyprus. Because the Knights Templars regularly transmitted money and supplies from Europe to Palestine, they developed an efficient banking system on which the rulers and nobility of Europe came to rely. The Knights gradually became bankers for a large part of Europe and amassed great wealth. After the last Crusades had failed and interest had waned in an aggressive policy against the Muslims, the Knights Templars were no longer needed to police Palestine. Their immense riches and power had aroused the envy of secular as well as ecclesiastical powers. And in 1307, the impoverished Philip IV, King of France, with the aid of Pope Clement V, arranged for the arrest of the French Grand Master Jacques de Molay on charges of sacrilege and Satanism. Molay and the leading officers of the order confessed under torture and were eventually burned at the stake. The order was suppressed in 1312 by Clement V and its property assigned to the rival Knights Hospitallers, or who were later known as the Knights of Malta, although most of it was in fact seized by Philip and by King Edward II, who disbanded the order in England. Knights Templars now are members of the York Rite of the Masonic system, unquote. And this is all from Funk and Waddell's Encyclopedia, volume 15, page 280. Now let me explain about the Knights of St. John of Jerusalem, which was also known as the Knights Hospitallers, Knights of Rhodes, and Knights of Malta. According to, again, the Funk and Waddell's Encyclopedia, volume 15, page 279, it says, quote, Knights of St. John of Jerusalem, known as Hospitallers or Knights Hospitallers, shorter forms of their full name, the sovereign military order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, of Rhodes, and of Malta. Historically, the Knights Hospitallers were the protectors of a hospital built in Jerusalem before the First Crusade by Gerard, who died around in 1120. The order was founded after the formation of the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem, approved by Pope Paschal II in 1113, and again by Pope Eugene III in 1153. The brothers were sworn to poverty, obedience, and chastity, and to assist in the defense of Jerusalem. Gerard, the first leader, was called Rector. Later, heads of the order were called Grand Masters. Of necessity, the order became a military one, and the armed knights were of noble birth. They formed a community under the rule of St. Augustine. At first, devoted to the care of pilgrims and crusaders, the order left the Holy Land with the failure of the Crusades. After 1309, the order had its headquarters on the island of Rhodes. It formed a territorial state, and its navy kept the eastern Mediterranean Sea free of Muslims. The properties of the Knights Templars were given to the order in 1312. The Knights of Rhodes, as they came to be called, formed national units of the order elsewhere. They were called tongues from the French langues. Forced to leave Rhodes when it was seized by Suleiman II, ruler of the Ottoman Turks, in 1522, they had no home until 1530, when they ceded the island of Malta. The order figured in European history until well into the 19th century. As the Knights of Malta, it lost its English and German properties during the Reformation and its French holdings during the French Revolution. The Russians granted the order protection, but the French under Napoleon seized Malta. The covenant was moved to Trieste in 1798 and to Rome in 1834. By this time, the Russians had confiscated all properties held by them in Russian territories. Again, the Knights of Malta, as recognized by Pope John XXIII in 1961, form a religious community in an order of chivalry. Organized in 5 grand priories and a number of national associations, they carry on diplomatic relations with the Vatican and with other countries. As a religious community, they maintain hospitals, first aid centers, and facilities to care for war casualties and refugees. They wear a black cloak in which an 8-pointed Maltese cross is applied. The Grand Master is titled Prince and holds a church rank equal to that of Cardinal, unquote. And that was from Funk and Wild's Encyclopedia, Volume 18, pages 279 to 280. And we will talk a little more about the Knights of Malta later and what they do today.
Hey Rob, that's a lot of good info so far, and why don't we give yourself and the audience a little break here, go to some music, get you some water and stuff, and before we continue on with this. So ladies and gentlemen, again, this special research, beginning before Bill was killed, to put together a Mystery of Babylon 2, and Rob here is the same person that helped Bill with much of his gathering of books and data and documents concerning mystery school and esoteric ties to New Age religions, ecumenicals, etc. Now, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Hour of Time can only bring you this type of programming, researchers, a special guest like Rob, and this Friday again, the special guest, cutting-edge research, with your support. And you can support us through donations, either outright or for research materials, via the website, houroftheTime.com, or in writing, Hour of the Time, at P.O. Box 940, Eager, Arizona 85925. And again today, the 26th of July 2005, on WBCQ, The Planet. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you're listening to the Hour of the Time here on WBCQ, The Planet, Tuesday the 26th of July 2005, with part 10 in the special series with Rob here and his research. And like we try to always arrange for the audience of the Hour of the Time, a special opportunity, and here's another one. Rob is willing to personally correspond with those in the audience who are into delving into this type of research. You can email him directly, you don't have to go through us. It's a special offer. And please don't abuse it. Don't ask him all sorts of offbeat questions that have nothing to do with these subjects. Don't waste his time. Don't throw his address all over every socialist mailing list. Please be respectful. And his email is rltwoco@aol.com. That's rltwoco@aol.com. And again, ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind, we cannot do this radio show, the free website, 365 days a year, all this, every day of the week, without your generous support. And we need that support. We have a lot of big projects working on right now. And, well, this has been going really good. And what are we going to kind of get into now?
Well, we're going to continue with the Crusades. And we're talking about the Knights Templars and the Knights of Malta, how they used to fight in the Crusades, and the idea that Islam might have been created by the Vatican to conquer really Jerusalem for the Pope. Let's explain the Crusades now.
Okay.
Beginning in the year 1096, the Crusaders were the so-called Christians who fought for God and the Pope to free Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Islamic control, and who were later known as the Knights Templars, first attacked Jewish people in Europe, wiping out entire communities. When the Emperor Constantine retired, he gave the Bishop of Rome the title Sumo Maximus Pontifex, making him a pope. Constantine moved to Byzantium in Turkey in 330 AD, gave it a facelift and called it Constantinople, which is today is called Istanbul in Turkey. As time went on, a split developed in the Roman Catholic institution between Rome in the west and Constantinople in the east. Constantinople became the head of the Orthodox Church. They became bitter enemies. In 1204, Pope Innocent III raised up the Fourth Crusade and attacked Constantinople. His crusaders smashed the city and its people and looted everything they could get their hands on. Instead of coming back under the Pope's control, the Orthodox survivors cursed the Pope and they pulled further away. As time passed, the Eastern Russian Orthodox churches fell under the protection of the Tsars of Russia. The Roman Catholic institution felt if the Tsar and the Orthodox Church would not submit to the Vatican, they should be destroyed just like the Jewish people. And you can read this in The Godfathers by Jack Chick, pages 4, 5, and 8, where he gets his information from Alberto Rivera, who was said he claimed to be an ex-Jesuit priest. Eventually, the Vatican became tired of the Knights Templar. The Vatican wanted to get rid of them for failing the Pope in the Crusades. On October the 13th, Friday the 13th, 1307, which was the first October surprise, Jacques Guimelet, the last Grand Master, and his Knights Templars were arrested in France. They were accused by the Vatican of worshipping Baphomet, the goat of Mendes, which was represented by the Crusaders' cross or Jerusalem cross, and for urinating on crucifixes and committing homosexual acts. This arrest took place on Friday the 13th. It's from the Knights Templars that we get the expression of Friday the 13th being an unlucky day. On November 22nd, 1307, Pope Clement V issued his papal bull against the Knights Templars. Is it a coincidence that November 22nd was the day John F. Kennedy, a Roman Catholic, was assassinated? Was this revenge by the Knights Templars and Freemasonry against the Vatican by killing a Roman Catholic president? On March 11, 1313, and that date sometimes changes, some people say it's March 14th, 1313, Guimelet was burned at the stake. The Knights Templars were said to have been destroyed, but they went underground and eventually developed into Freemasonry. The symbol of the Crusaders' Cross or Jerusalem Cross is on the hat of the Sovereign Grand Commander of Freemasonry. He's also the man in charge of all 33rd degree Freemasons. The symbol on his hat is in a very slightly modified form. Aleister Crowley, an occultist and 33rd degree Freemason, used a symbol. Crowley knew it represented Baphomet. Dr. Burns says, quote, "This symbol is on the New Catholic Bible, the Jerusalem Bible," unquote. Again, it's from Masonic and occult symbols illustrated by Dr. Burns, page 312. The Vatican is busy secretly pouring millions of dollars into multitudes of new Bible translations, each one based on a new corrupted manuscript. Later, after the Crusades in 1541, Loyola founded the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits. The Jesuits have been secretly involved in some of the big events in the past. The Jesuits coached and directed Marx and Engels, who wrote the Communist Manifestos in the 1800s. The Communist Party was helped formed by the Jesuits to destroy the Orthodox Church and the Tsar of Russia. This was for revenge from the Crusades. France in the early 1900s made a deal with the Tsar of Russia. France got rid of its Catholic king and became a republic. The Orthodox Church was spreading into Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, the European part of Turkey, and Serbian Yugoslavia. The Vatican decided he had to destroy France and destroy the religious competition in the Balkans. The Jesuits' plans would end up in World War I. Germany was led by Kaiser Wilhelm, a Roman Catholic, and he asked the Vatican if he could expand Germany's borders. Pope Pius X and the Jesuits allowed him to expand Germany's borders. Pope Pius X died on August 20, 1914, and was replaced by Pope Benedict XV. Germany was fighting France, England, and Russia. The U.S. then got involved on the side of France, England, and Russia. World War I lasted 4 years, of 1914 to 1918. You can read a lot of this in The Godfathers by Jack Chick, in the book I recommend everyone get, called The Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmond Paris. And that's from that book, pages 8 through 9 and 11, 116 to 124. And it's kind of ironic that World War I was starting with Pope Benedict XV, and now we have another Benedict in the Vatican now. And of course, the Masonic plan is to have 3 world wars, and now we have another Benedict Pope in the Vatican now.
Yeah, and we also have the other aspect of the Third World War being perpetuated by one world order crowds. They're doing all they can to start World War III right now, ladies and gentlemen, whether that be in the Middle East or wherever, and they're going to make this a religious war instead of a world government type approach, and then say as an afterthought, oh, we might as well have a world religion. They're going to subvert Christianity and morals and republic and freedom through a world religion and church first, and that'll make a world government body easier to establish by going that backwards route. And you're going to see this religious tension and the fights among the esoteric and the mystery schools increase. There are different sides of this fence, and of course everyone wants to be in charge.
Right, and the dispensational Christians believe that World War III is going to involve Russia, and it's involved in the Middle East, and it's part of Bible prophecy in Ezekiel 38:39. That's what the last world war, and then the world leader will emerge and save Israel and save Russia. Because when we talk about dispensational Christianity later, and really what it is Christian Zionism or Christian socialism. But continuing in preparation for the Russian Revolution, the Jesuits are said to believe to work closely with Marx, Engels, Trotsky, Lenin, and Stalin. In April 1917, Lenin and his men made their trip through Germany in the quote-unquote sealed train. Diego Bergen, a German Roman Catholic, was trained in Jesuit schools. He arranged his journey for Lenin and his men. Bergen later became the German ambassador to the Vatican during the Weimar Republic in Hitler's regime. The Weimar Republic was later destroyed by Franz von Papen, a Roman Catholic, and Eugenio Pacelli, who later became Pope Pius XII. When Lenin arrived in Russia in April 1917, his competitors were controlling the revolution. The Tsar was forced to give up his throne, and he and his family were put under house arrest. The troops loyal to the Tsar were called White Russians. The revolutionaries were called Reds. Lenin gained control of the revolutionary government and moved into Moscow on March 10, 1918. On July 17, 1980, the Ural Soviets found the royal family guilty and were all murdered. Later, Orthodox priests, nuns, and monks were murdered. Later, the older chief patriarch of the Orthodox Church greeted the communists and gave them the Tsar's gold and the Pope's gold and the communists accepted it, and let the patriarch live. The Jesuits in the Vatican wanted revenge on the Orthodox Church and communists of Russia. And I read a lot of this explained in the Godfathers by Jack Chick, pages 13 to 15. Later, the Jesuit general Halk von Ledowchowski assigned a Jesuit to work with Mussolini. The Catholic vote directed by the Vatican put Mussolini in power. Pope Pius XI called Mussolini, quote, the man whom Providence allowed us to meet, unquote. And this is explained in further detail in The Secret History of the Jesuits by Paris, page 126. Mussolini again signed a concordat with the Vatican, making Roman Catholicism the only recognized religion allowed in Italy and its territories. Mussolini reestablished the temporal power of the Pope and gave the clergy complete power over the life of the nation. It is in The Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmond Paris, page 126, and The Woman Rides the Beast by Dave Hunt, chapters 18 and 19 in his book. Later, the Jesuits were involved with putting Hitler in power. The Jesuit Bernhard Stempel is said to believe to be the writer of Mein Kampf, which is written for Hitler to use. This is in The Secret History of the Jesuits by Paris, page 138. The Jesuits built the Third Reich for Hitler. They used a swastika, which is the symbol of the sun, used in Hinduism and by Freemasons. Germany signed a concordat with the Vatican in 1933. Cardinal Eugenio Pacelli signed a concordat. This is in The Secret History of the Jesuits by Paris, pages 128 to 129. In the Nazi Party, there was Goebbels, who was Jesuit educated at an academy in Catholic Rhineland. He studied for the priesthood as well as Austrian fascist Dollfuss, Hitler, Bormann, Kaltenbrunner, and the homosexual commandant of Auschwitz, Rudolf Hess. Baron Konstantin von Neurath, a Roman Catholic, was Hitler's first foreign minister. Himmler, head of the Gestapo, Heydrich, who was Himmler's right-hand man, Kaltenbrunner, who succeeded Heydrich, Müller, and Frank were all Roman Catholics. Himmler's uncle was a Jesuit priest and a superior officer of the SS. This is in The Secret History of the Jesuits by Paris, pages 167 to 168. And we also, good note to add here is that, of course, a lot of them were also occultists, the Nazis, and Himmler, who created the Jesuits, is said to have formed the SS really based on the Jesuit orders. Loyola was really one of his idols. He really based the whole SS order on, the occult in Loyola, and, the foundation, the headquarters for the SS was really all occult, geometry and, the way they built their headquarters for the SS.
Yeah, Rob, and also a lot of the power groups in the 20s of Germany were esoteric practitioners, mystery school people, ex-Jesuits, for instance, the Vril Society, which was really the mystical, esoteric intelligence arm prior to the SS and all the way through World War II Germany, the Vril Society, in case you didn't hear that right, ladies and gentlemen, they were responsible for a lot of the intelligence and the development of the flying craft, the Nazi UFOs, if you will, and they were all esoteric, Jesuit trained, OTO, etc. And they started back in the 20s.
Right, the Vril Society, Thule Society, they wanted the Vril craft, and it's all connected to the occult, and they wanted the flying machines, and, the Hitler, they're the ones who, started this technology with their flying tortoises, or they called them Foo Fighters, the French, and, it's all documented, and of course, through Operation Paperclip, when the Americans got all this technology and all these scientific and all these papers from the Nazis, we received all this information. The British, the American governments received all these technologies and all these scientific papers that they wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about how the Jesuits were involved with putting Hitler in power. We also remember that there were, of course, American capitalists put Hitler in power. It's been documented that Prescott Bush, the grandfather of the president now, they helped finance Hitler. There's good books by Anthony Sutton, Wall Street and the Rise of Hitler, the unauthorized biography of George Bush, talks about the Bush connections with putting Hitler in power.
Also, some classic texts like I.G. Farben, written right at the end of World War II,
right,
when the first storehouses of SS paperwork were seized before the rest conveniently disappeared. I.G. Farben, another classic.
A lot of these American capitalists helped put Hitler in power. Like Henry Ford, I think he received a German Cross or some award by Hitler. That's documented. A lot of these American capitalists, again, the idea that they're going to use socialism, communism, they're going to control really the wealth of the world. They're not going to redistribute it to anyone. We're going to, if you're not one of them, and one of their things is if you're not one of them, you're nothing, and that's what they believe in. If you're not one of the initiates of their, the Freemasonry or whatever the New Age religions, then you're nothing to them.
Those who are illumined.
And even these lesser degrees, these guys who are low degrees, 3rd degree Masons, these guys think they're part. They're not going to be part of it. They're just a window dressing. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. They just go because they want to get away from their wife once a month. Go out and
drink beer for cheap.
It's for acceptance. That's all the secret side is. I'm accepted. I'm part of the elite. Then a lot of them never go past the 3rd degree. And then when they get to the 33rd or the 32nd degree, it's really split in two. A lot of them don't even know about the Luciferian initiation part of it. They really think they still think it's a Christian organization. A lot of these men. The next power the Vatican wanted was Spain. 3 presidents of the Spanish Republic were Necito Alcala Zamora, Manuel Azaria, and Juan Negrin. They were all Jesuit trained. These 3 men had demanded 5 laws passed in Spain to block the Vatican's interference in the Spanish Republic. The 5 laws were: 1. All Roman Catholic Church property was to be nationalized. 2. All Roman Catholic churches to be taxed. 3. No more schools in the hands of the priests. 4. All schools, convents, and monasteries to be under the control of Spain. And 5. To recognize Protestantism. This all started the Civil War in France. The Pope hired several divisions of Muslim mercenaries to fight under Franco, who was a Freemason, to kill all Roman Catholics, Jews, and Protestants who opposed them. Because